Basically, as I would describe it, it's like any other regular, just like outside of like a big city town. It's pretty janky. Key Largo is definitely the jankiest spot in the Keys, hands down. There's not really much beauty to it. It looks like, I don't know, it just looks like a modern day pirate village. But yeah, it's this is the spot where it starts to get a lot more mangrovey, a lot more like you would think whenever you go to the Keys that like you can see all the ocean and like there's a bunch of water around. No, you don't see water for like an hour after you get into the Keys. Like not until you like cross over and get off Key Largo do you actually like see the ocean or see the Gulf. You're just like driving through an extremely dense like mangrove wooded area and it's, I don't know, I'm not really a fan of Key Largo per se. I would say that if you're gonna come down to the Keys, it's probably the cheapest place that you can come to in the Keys, but it is not the best destination by any means. Like you might as well just go like a few dozen more miles and just end up in Alamorada, because it'd be a lot better than being here. But Keys is the Keys. Good fishing, extremely good fishing, best in the world. Some would say people come from all over the world just to be able to fish this area. And I mean, you got such a wide variety of fish, and you got such a wide variety of fishing options as far as like if you want to fly fish the flats, if you want to go off on a marlin trip, if you want to reef and wreck fish, if you want to go jigging on a wreck. Like there's all kinds of different things that you can do down here. Like in Destin is a great fishing area. Like don't get me wrong, it is an extremely productive fishing area. Problem is with Destin is you have so many people coming down wanting a specific type of fishing, as in like they want to go red snapper fishing, like that's what they want to do, or they want to just bottom fish and catch little like mingos and trigger fish and stuff like that. That shit ain't fun. If you're a deckhand or if you're a captain, or let's say you're a deckhand, the worst thing that you can possibly hear on a fishing trip is the captain turn around and be like, hey, go set up the 2-hook rigs, we're going bottom fishing. That is like the absolute worst shit a deckhand can hear on a boat. Because if you're a deckhand, you want excitement, you want big fish, you want, you know, a little bit more action. Like it is fun if the customers are having a good time and you see that they're having a good time. Like that's really what it comes down to. Like a lot of people probably think that I do this for like own self gratification, or the fact that like what people don't realize, I'm not fishing when I'm working on a charter boat. I am not the one that's actually fishing. I get enjoyment from seeing other people have the time of their life. I get excited in the fact that, I mean, people will remember that trip for the rest of their lives. They will remember you for the rest of their lives. If you show them a great experience, it can make the world to them. I always think back on this trip that I had in the Keys whenever I worked at Sea Dog, and these 4 Lebanese brothers from New York came down, and they were old, like they were definitely in the 80s, like all of them were in the 80s, and like they had to have electric reels because they couldn't actually wind. So like there is actual, you know, electric reels for people that are either handicapped or old, and so we had to rig up a bunch of those. But we had an amazing trip. We limited out on yellowtail snapper, we caught a bunch of grouper, caught some sharks, and the sun was going down. It was a night trip, and the sun was going down, and we were on the Atlantic, and I mean, it was like perfect conditions. Beautiful sunset, like absolutely beautiful, like I can't explain it. Like, it was the perfect sunset. And these brothers were sitting there talking about their childhood, like back in like the 30s and 40s, and about their parents, and like one of them started like crying a little bit when they started talking about their mom, and they started singing this old song that their mom like used to sing to them. And like there was this moment of like absolute serenity. Like the sun was going down, like it was one of those moments, man, that like I will remember for the rest of my life. Like, I just sat there and thought about the fact that these guys are never going to go on another trip like this again. They're probably never going to be able to get to do anything of the sort again together on this earth, like in their lifetime. Like, this is it. Like, this is their last hurrah. And to sit there with them while they had that moment was one of the most pure, enjoyable feelings that I've ever had in my whole entire life. I felt this connection with them that you just don't get when you're working like day to day. If you're working in an office and stuff like that, you don't get that kind of feeling. I mean, maybe if you're like working in a hospital and you have patients and you get this like this bonding feeling that is just overwhelming, but there's nothing quite like either having a kid like hug you after a trip because he had the best time of his life, or like there's this one guy that I saw like on the docks one day, and he's a real stern captain, like never really had much to say or anything like that. And there was a cancer patient, and she was a woman, and it looked like she was on her, her last go. And like right when they were leaving, she was getting off the boat, and she hugged the captain, and the captain started crying. And I could tell it was one of those moments, like just by looking at it, that he just couldn't handle the fact that that she had to go and that this was happening to her. And I mean, it was just like those kind of things are what I enjoy about charter fishing. Yeah, like chasing big fish, doing all that, that's great. But the fact that you are giving an experience for something that is so valuable to people, like families going out together, wives and husbands going out together. I mean, it's just, there's nothing like fishing. There's absolutely nothing like. My best times in my life were when I went fishing with my dad. My dad taking me on my first charter trip in Destin, where like it's amazing in the fact that I have this picture of me holding up a king mackerel, and I'm holding up this king mackerel, and I